flies it over to the, to the place where the boat is going to arrive, and goes to the customs authority there and says, when that boat arrives, here's all my phytosanitary certificates. So now you've got a physical thing that you need to keep track of, right? All you have to do is digitize that form, have digital signatures from those authorities, and then you hash that document, including the digital signatures on it. And if anybody gets a document purported to be the original document presented to them, all they have to do is hash it. If they don't get the hash that's in the blockchain, they know that something has been changed with this form, and they don't accept it.
So how do you know, though, that form, that 32 digits, right, is attached to that particular batch of roses that's coming from Colombia to the United States? How do you know that those are the two, that's
Because
describing the same
part
thing?
of the information on that certificate that will be accumulated over its life cycle will be everybody that's touched it, right? So it goes from the export country to the freight forwarder, right, to the actual port terminal operator, to potentially the carrier who will actually put that container on a boat, and that container can be sealed. And we were talking about this earlier. You can put a IoT device inside that container. You can also put a serialized container, secure container identifier that if this container ever gets opened, right? But if the information being reported by the IoT device in the container says, I had a period of time where the refrigeration, if it's a refrigerated container, or the humidity changed, or it got over a certain temperature, whatever your criteria are for shipping your product, you will know that at the other end, because the blockchain will store the information in it that the IoT devices are producing.
Thank you. With that, we can start. We're going to take, so like I said, what we're going to do is take some questions for Stephen, and then we'll call the panel, do some panel discussion.
On the far back left there, sir. He was the first one up.
It was, okay, sure. Okay. And we're going to have, we're going to do the panel and more Q&A, so we're going to have plenty of opportunities for questions coming up.
Thank you. I'd like to follow up on the example you used for the custom. For
Okay.
example, my interest in blockchain is for the continent of Africa.
Yep.
Management that is very poor, procurement that is very corrupt. I'm looking for how do we use this to streamline that system.
Very good, thank you.
A lot of people believe that one of the greatest values of blockchain will be its anti-corruption powers, because of the transparency that it provides, not just to the people in the business network, but authorities, world authorities, who look at and oversee those processes. And when you shine a light on something that is, generally not a good thing, it has a tendency to try to, squirrel away and go someplace else, right? But if customs signs on for that country, and obviously, if this is a country run by a military dictatorship or something, they don't want to play in this, right? What I think will happen is what's happening now with diamonds, right? Conflict diamonds as an example, right? With the ability of Everledger to give you 100% certainty of where that diamond came from and that it was mined ethically, the demand is shifting from diamonds that nobody can provide that certificate to places where it can provide that certificate. We're working with Arizona State University on building something like the Good Housekeeping Seal of Approval for conflict minerals, right? You can't prevent it from happening, right? But what you can do is prevent or build a channel that people are comfortable with, that it's not happening with, and then hopefully moral companies will begin to say, I will no longer source from that channel, I'm going to move my source to this channel, and then they will tell people that's what they're doing, right? And if any of you are millennials or have millennials working for you, you know that this matters to them, tremendously. That generation is highly motivated by the ethics of what they're doing and how they're doing it. So to me, it's the demand from the end user will change as long as you can have a blockchain-based process that shows you this is legitimate, this is illegitimate.
So I was very interested in your comments about the document authentication process, because that's what we do.
Can you identify yourself?
I'm David Watt with Washington Consular Services.
Okay.
So you're absolutely right. The document, for instance, we work with some big pharma companies, and that document will first come out of FDA, certifying the pharma product to the pharma company, to us, to the State Department, to the embassy, back to pharma, back to use overseas. So we've been looking at blockchain as, okay, we can digitize this document, we can really, really advance this process. But until the regulatory authorities,
Right.
until the FDA, the State Department, and the embassies, and country overseas accept that digitized version, we're stuck. Any comments on that?
Well, when we started working with US Customs, they said, plan on 6 months to convince us, and then plan on 12 months for us to get rules, regulations, legislation changed. And we were like, well, we thought we were convincing you with this meeting. We thought we were going to come out of this meeting with a decision, and then we go back and work on it, and 2 months later, we'd have it done, right? So yes, there is that aspect of it, but I can tell you that the Commissioner for Customs and Border Protection in the U.S. is very excited about blockchain. And he is, I was just over there yesterday, and they are excited about its potential, but obviously the more sessions we do like this, the more knowledge we get about how this thing is not just Bitcoin and how it can be used for business, the faster we can get that machinery beginning to turn. But it is a problem, and I don't know how to solve that. Anybody know how to solve Washington speed problems? Please stand up.
Please identify yourself.
Yeah, sure. Lydia Children, I'm with Baker Hostetler, previously with U.S. Chairman, the Office of the General Counsel. So I'm looking at this from a trade remedies perspective, and so I'm also considering some of the trade remedies sort of ramifications, and also the evidentiary issues as well too. Also, you have to understand I'm deeply involved in the softwood lumber for dispute right now, so I'm thinking about the issues so as you had indicated, this blockchain would follow an asset or a transaction then from beginning to end, and obviously that might include any sort of other assistance as well too from government, correct? So is it my understanding here that you are advocating this to become industry standard, sort of?
Yes, we're advocating the fabric or the protocol that you use to create a blockchain business network, that there is one language to do that. And Hyperledger does not have a cryptocurrency associated with it. It's asset agnostic. The Ethereum has the Ether, Bitcoin, Bitcoin has the Bitcoin, right? And so that we're trying to get, it's like, the Tower of Babel. We're all in this room, none of us speak the same language. But we're trying to get everybody on the same language so that we can, we can all transact business effectively.
And
So-
when we get, excuse me, I'm sorry, when we get to our panel, some of the other panels may be able to answer some of your questions as well, because we'll get to some of that, including Alan Cohen, who's actually working on some of these supply chain and trade law related
Okay.
matters. So we can get, I think we'll come back to some of the questions.
Can you come back? Yeah, because I have
We
a
can
few
try to come-
other concerns as well too. Just-
Yes, thank you. Let's take a couple more in the back, and we're going to take like 2 more, and then we'll take them together, Stephen, and then we'll
Okay.
call up the panel and have the next part of the discussion.
You're in charge.
Thank you.
Hello, Rachel Pfeffer from Congressional Research Service. So I just read on CNBC how major Bitcoin exchanges have been hit by cyber attacks. So I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about blockchain and cybersecurity.
Okay, so the first thing you have to understand is there are multiple tiers of, say, let's just take the Bitcoin network as an example. At the very bottom, it is the ledger, right, of all of the transactions. That has never been successfully hacked, right? On top of that is the protocol by which you write applications, and then the applications and the Bitcoin is essentially an application, right? And then there are things above that, higher level applications like wallets, where you store Bitcoins and you exchange Bitcoins. So there was a company called Mt. Gox, if anybody has heard of that. They were a Japanese company that I think at one point in time had 70% of the world's exchanges of Bitcoins into fiat currencies, the currencies that you and I recognize that are backed by governments. But they had a really bad set of applications, and they were giving out money, right, before they were collecting money, and they eventually went out of business, right? And everyone says, oh my God, Mt. Gox, just went out of business, this is Bitcoin. Nobody hacked the Bitcoin ledger, right? And what you're talking about is people building these applications and not building them in a secure way, and those applications are being hacked, as opposed to the Bitcoins themselves. They're not disappearing, right? They haven't gone anywhere. In Ethereum, they have a different process. They don't mine the same way. And then with Ethereum, they go out and have a bid process. And they say, okay, we're going to set up this exchange for this purpose. Who wants one, right? And they put in a bid. I would like an Ether, and here's my bid for it. And then they get distributed to people. And while they were doing this, somebody was using their own code and creating what's called a child network, and they siphoned off the money as it was coming in. And it's still sitting there, and believe it or not, the person who stole it is suing the Ethereum network to say, I used your code to take it, so that's fair and square. And so therefore, if you don't let me use it, let me have it, I'm going to sue you, which is...
Sounds like my kid taking money out of my wallet.
Right, exactly.
Saying it's my money now. With that, we're going to actually take not a break. We're just going to call the panel up, move to our panel discussion. Stephen will be part of that and be able to take questions as part of that. So you all can just stay in your seats, and this will just take about a minute to transition over.